On today's episode of Notable New England, I'll give you some Wicked Lite Bites, lighthearted stories and things to do around New England. And later, I will share an interesting conversation with New England's own Professor Harp, who tells us all about his journey in the blues, some of his favorite artists, and how he is bringing the blues overseas, too. You're in for a wonderful episode, so I hope you stick around. Hello, lovely listeners. Thank you for tuning into this edition of Notable New England. I'm your host, Gretchen B. This episode releases the day before St. Patrick's Day. Are you all ready? Have you got your corned beef and cabbage ready to cook and something green to wear? You're going to drink a pint of Guinness? It's always a festive day in New England, for sure. And speaking of Irish things, I actually just booked my plane tickets for a trip to Ireland this June. I am so excited for this vacation and I can't wait to visit. I know it's going to be a great time and I'm really looking forward to it. Well, it is that time that we dig into some Wicked Lite Bites, which are lighthearted stories and things to do in each New England state. So without further ado, did you know that Boston has an Irish heritage trail? Indeed, they do. It's an approximately 3-mile stretch that covers 20 different landmarks dedicated to 3 centuries of Irish American history. In some great news, the trail is going to be expanding not only in Boston, but also outside of the city. The trail is managed by a group called the Boston Irish Tourism Association, and it's a self-guided walk where visitors can stop at various landmarks along the way, and you can get their maps at the Boston Common Visitors Information Center, as well as at various tourist stops, gift shops, museums, and cultural centers in Massachusetts. They are also going to be offering guided tours of the trail again sometime this year. They had to stop those during COVID, so I guess later this year they're going to try to start those up again. The Irish Heritage Trail will be expanding later this year to more Boston neighborhoods, the greater Boston area, and eventually they would like to produce a map that covers all of Massachusetts. The Irish Heritage Trail celebrates the contributions of writers, artists, war heroes, politicians, architects, builders, and advocates of the poor who are of Irish descent. Quote, by exploring this specific slice of the city's history, the Irish Heritage Trail adds a significant chapter about Boston from an immigrant and ethnic perspective, says Michael Quinlan, who created the trail in the summer of 1994 when he was working at the Boston Parks and Recreation Department. If you would like some more information, I'll be putting a link to the Boston Irish Tourism Association's website in the show notes. They do have the map there that you can download, and it shows you all of the sites that you can visit to get your fill of Irish history. Information for this story came from the Irish Heritage Trail website and an article by Sarah Barnacle of the Worcester Telegram and Gazette. Connecticut Governor Ned Lamont awarded Rolling Stones guitarist Keith Richards with the very first Connecticut Governor's Award of Excellence earlier this month. So the award celebrates residents who enrich Connecticut's cultural and civic life, and Richards received a custom-designed medallion along with a ribbon made by fashion designer Justin Haynes. And here is a quote from Governor Lamont. He said, quote, Connecticut has long been home to some of the world's most innovative minds, boldest artists, and most generous hearts. He continues, this award was created to honor those whose creativity, resourcefulness, and passion have made a lasting impact on our state and beyond. Keith Richards is the epitome of these values, not only as one of the most influential musicians of all time, but as a dedicated supporter of the arts, education, and community causes right here in Connecticut. And if you did not know, Keith Richards, well, yes, he is British. He has been a resident of Connecticut since 1985. And this information comes from a press release from the office of Governor Ned Lamont. An East Greenwich, Rhode Island girl has become the youngest certified master scuba diver in New England at the age of 12. Now, only fewer than 2% of divers ever earn this certification. She is also only the second young girl to achieve elite status in the United States. Her name is Mia DuPont, and she said, quote, I want to grow up and be a marine biologist. When I was around 4 or 5, I saw my mom's certification when she was in high school, and I just wanted to do it ever since. According to the Professional Association of Diving Instructors, 12 years old is the earliest age that you can qualify to become a master diver. And you need a lot of work to get this done. You need a minimum of 50 dives. You have countless hours of education and studying and e-learning testing. And you have to also get a handful of other certifications. Now, DuPont is a 6th grader at Cole Middle School in East Greenwich, and in addition to now being a certified master scuba diver, she also happens to be a black belt in karate. Very impressive. This story comes from Melanie De Silva and Joe Cortez at WPRI 12. If you love maple syrup, you will not want to miss Maple Sugaring Weekend at the Maple Station Market in Temple, New Hampshire, the weekend of March 22nd and 23rd, as well as March 29th and 30th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The Maple Station Market is located at 8 Webster Highway in Temple, New Hampshire. You can learn why maple syrup is called liquid gold, and you can try some for yourself. And they also happen to have a restaurant on site, too, so you can try some yummy treats with that delicious maple syrup. I'm going to put the website to the market in the show notes, where there is more information, and information for this story actually comes from their website as well. And if you need an extra maple sugar fix, you can explore the Spring Maple Open House Weekend in Vermont the weekend of March 22nd and 23rd. So this event celebrates the opening of the crop of the season, and all the sugar houses and sugar makers across the state open their doors so you can get a sneak peek into the process. Now, you can get a map of all of the locations online, and I'm going to put that link in the show notes. And the information for this came from Vermont's Maples website. If you're interested in science, make sure to check out the Maine Science Festival, which is happening March 19th through 23rd in Bangor, Maine. So they have over 70 activities, all focused on science in Maine. And they have a whole calendar of events that you can check out online, which I'll put in the show notes for you in case you'd like more info. Some of the programs they're doing include how music and heart health help heal and shape the brain. They'll have a teen tech night, math in nature, hands-on physics activities, and so much more. This information comes from the Maine Science Festival's website. It's time to take a short break, and after this, I'm going to be joined by the Undaunted Professor Harp, who will share his journey as a blues musician with us. It's a great conversation, and I hope you stick around. You're listening to Notable New England. Are you tired of the endless drama of traditional social media? If you're going to be online and want to see some comforting, kind, and fun content, why not come over to Notable New England's Patreon page? You can become a member for free. Yes, for $0. And you can check out the public posts as well as chime in on your favorite New England people, places, and things. I'd really love to get more engagement happening, so come on over and give us a visit. It's patreon.com/Notable New England. And if you have a few dollars you would like to go toward the production costs of the podcast and to help ensure the longevity of the podcast, I do offer some paid tiered options that have some great benefits like early ad-free listening, Notable New England swag, and more, starting at just $2 a month. But regardless of whether you are a paid member or you want to come and join us for free, I'd be honored to have you there. So make sure you pay a visit to patreon.com/Notable New England. That's patreon.com/Notable New England and join our community. Psst. You know what? You don't have to keep Notable New England a secret. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your family about Notable New England and help spread the word. I'd love for more people to discover us and hear the great stories and conversations too. So if you're digging the show, tell somebody about it, and hopefully they'll tune in and like it too. And better yet, if you have a minute of time, go on over there to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen, leave a 5-star review, and you will have just helped get more eyes on the podcast. Let's get more people to become a part of the Notable New England family. Thank you so much for all of your support. Today, I'm bringing you a conversation with a true blues man, one who carries the fire of Texas and Delta blues straight through his harmonica and into every room he plays. Professor Harp, born Hugh Holmes right here in New England, has been laying down his no-nonsense, hard-hitting brand of roots music for decades. From his early days as a drummer to finding his true calling on the blues harp, he's remained, as he puts it, undaunted. With a powerful presence, a signature sound that blends traditional blues harp with a swirling Hammond organ effect, and a deep-rooted respect for the masters who came before him, including his mentor, the legendary Muddy Waters, Professor Harp has shared the stage with giants like Solomon Burke and Luther Guitar Jr. Johnson, even making his way onto NBC's Today Show. And today we have him right here with us. Let's dive into the stories, the music, and the blues with Professor Harp. Welcome to the podcast, Professor.
Thanks.
So you were born and raised in New England and have performed across the U.S. and internationally. Can you tell us a little bit about how your journey into the blues began?
I came of age in the late 60s, and that was when the Black Power movement, anti-war movement was going on a whole bit, And at the same time, the blues revival was happening. B.B. King was starting to make it big. Junior Wells, Buddy Guy, Muddy, a lot of people. And, I got into listening to the music, and I figured, hey, put two and two together. What better way to get into Black awareness than hearing the blues?
And how did you get your name, Professor Harp? How did that come about?
I'll give you the true story because on my promo, it's not quite true. I was jamming up in the Berry one time, up in Dorchester, with Solomon Burke. He was in Beantown playing with a pickup band because the clubs are too cheap to pay his own band. So he's traveling with his guitar player and a guy named Sam Mayfield, and they get local yokels from around here. And I saw him at a place called the 323 Club. So I went back, introduced myself and everything. And this is after this is about maybe a week or so after I lost my blues virginity with Muddy Waters, you might say. So I was feeling pretty, feeling my oats. I was about 24, 25, no, 24. And I used to wear gold rimmed glasses. So I told him, I was born in Boston, and he started calling me Professor Harmonica Holmes. And yeah, I sat in with him and everything, and that was cool. I remember doing CC Rider with him, and it was cool. So I just truncated it a little bit, abbreviated to Professor Harp.
Ah, interesting. Can you describe your style of playing and what you hope audiences take away from your performances?
Well, my style, I like you said, Texas, Louisiana, Chicago type blues. I like playing, like gritty soul numbers, rock and roll, but as long as in the root music vein. But I've always been a less is more man, so that's why I like to play with a stripped down band. Although every time I like having fun every so often, I play with big bands because when I was in my 20s, early 20s, they always told me the harmonica players didn't fit in with big bands and horns, but I've been able to prove wrong in many instances.
I do not doubt that. Is there a particular live performance or experience that stands out as your most memorable?
Well, a lot of it, sitting in with Muddy, I should say Muddy Senior, because 42 years later, I got to play with his oldest son, yeah, Mud Morganfield. So it was like being hit by lightning twice. I had 42 years more experience then, and so I mean, it was like I kind of feel like a blues commuter in with the Morganfield family.
I bet. Your recent induction into the New England Music Hall of Fame is a huge milestone. How does this bring your musical journey full circle?
I mean, it's some recognition. I want to get more work, and still, we both know how it is, with bands and everything. The recognition is good. I mean, they're a relatively new organization themselves, getting their wings going. The recognition is fine.
And well deserved, I must say. Now, you mentioned to me that you're going to be touring South America in a few weeks. Can you tell our listeners more about that?
I'm heading down to Brazil for about 12 days. We'll do 4 or 5, 5 gigs I think down there. And I had done that back in late October to mid-November of 23. And I like to do it now, and got a rapport with the guys down there, and they like me pretty well. So they respect the music, I think, a lot more than people up around here. So
Interesting. Could you tell us a little more about the difference that you have experienced between, say, New England audiences and then internationally?
well, the main thing with this band lady, he wants officially black players. That's the main thing he wants to do because it's pretty much the total opposite up here. And so he saw a lot of my stuff on YouTube and he liked it, so we hooked up that way and we set up, and so far so good.
And actually, I want to mention to the audience that you wrote a book a while back called Ain't No Uncle Tom in My Blues Life and Times of the Undaunted Professor Harp, where you actually talk about this topic as well as delving deeper into your life and your musical journey. So, if people want to read more, where can they get their hands on a copy?
Well, it's on Amazon, and you can always get limited copies from me, at shows and stuff too.
Do you have any upcoming shows that people can come and see you at in the near future?
I've got 3 shows in April down in Fall River from 5 to 8, a place called the Canned Heat Brewery.
Ooh,
It's
excellent.
not too far from the battleship. Then the Stomping Ground in on the 19th in Putnam, Connecticut,
Excellent. That is a great venue.
and then from 7 to 9 on the 26th, the Shepherd Center in Fairhaven, Mass. All right,
Fantastic.
I'm trying to keep the guys rolling, and trying to keep some of the international stuff in balance. I'm getting old now. I'm 73, so I don't feel like running on the road like 200 days a year, I'm just, still out there kicking and everything. Me and my guitar player, Night Train Williams, Tom Night Train Williams, he's one of the underrated guitar players around New England. And, I use, a variety of rhythm sections, but I try to get the best ones I can. Because, I mean, right now I'm starting to break into the black community again. And that's good because, my motto is to put the B back in the R&B. Because after all, we originated, so but I, if you read my book, a lot of criticism goes around and everything. And, it's time for us to reclaim the situation because the blues is the original BLM statement in North America. People forget that though.
Very true. Actually, if somebody is listening to this and wants to really dig into the roots of the blues and learn about the artists who helped to shape the music, do you have suggestions to get them started exploring the blues?
Well, what I would do if I were a real newbie, research it, encyclopedias and see where it came from. Because you have to have the respect for the people and the struggles, how it originated. Protest music against a racist system, slavery and the brutality and everything. I mean, and at the same time it had happy components as well. That's what it is really. What I would say, I listen to everybody, guitar players, harmonica players, piano players, organ players, organ trios, saxophone players, violin players, anybody that's into the blues. I mean, there's so many out there. I mean, people that know me know my biggest harmonica influence is George Harmonica Smith. All right. But as always, the Walters, Butterfield, Lee Oscar, Junior Wells, Carrie Bill, Billy Branch, I mean, there's so many people now, like, and I like to see the young guys coming out, like, or younger guys like, Marquise Knox, and I had the pleasure of playing with this solo bluesman from Georgia, Quan Willis. John Davis Willis, and that was fun down at the Narrows. Young Harry Davenport, Harold Davenport, he's a double threat man, guitar and harp. He said that I influenced him, so I don't know,
Nice.
But I mean, there's so many people out there. I mean, I could sit here, for a couple hours and just talk about, like just the musical, journeys and everything. Guys like Bob Margolin, and that's a whole story behind that. uh, Jimmy Witherspoon, I once jammed with him one time. Well, yeah, the jump stuff, the lowdown, rude stuff, the urbane stuff like BB King or Freddie King or Otis Rush. I mean, there's so many people out there. I mean, I always say I'm at the tip of the tip of the tip of the tip of the iceberg when it comes to blues, and that's what it is. It's a big, gigantic iceberg that's almost infinite.
And I'm just going to tack on that because it is International Women's Month, I want to make sure that we mention some female blues artists who are trailblazers in the genre that are definitely worth people listening to, such as Bessie Smith, Ma Rainey, Memphis Minnie, Big Mama Thornton, Etta James, Ruth Brown, Dinah Washington, Ida Cox, Victoria Spivey, Mamie Smith, Alberta Hunter, Coco Taylor, and, some of the modern day artists such as Shamika Copeland, Bonnie Raitt, Ruthie Foster, Marcia Ball, Susan Tedeschi, and so many others. And of course, you have got some recordings that the lovely listeners might want to take a listen to. Tell us more about that.
Oh yeah, I've got two recordings. One until I can get the business stuff together. I did. Matter of fact, I recorded down in Brazil. It's anthology shared with a guy named Derek Walker, a harp man, sax man, brother, and it was recorded in quite literally in a mountainous jungle in Brazil. A band down there called the Headcutters have their own studio. It's great. It's out now. Right now, you can get it from me from shows until I can get all the hookups all together. Because if I didn't produce it like my first album. My first album, they call me Professor Self Produced, so you can get that from me or from Amazon until I can square everything away with all the details and make sure everything's fair and everything. Uh, the Brazil one you can get from me at shows.
Fantastic. And please, everyone, make sure that you visit Professor Harp in person by going to one of his shows that he mentioned he will be doing in New England in April. I am going to put that information in the show notes so that you can easily check that out and mark your calendars. You can also check out Professor Harp's work via his website, which is professorharp.com, and he is also on Facebook too, so you can connect with him there. I will put the links to his website, Facebook, and also Amazon, so you can buy his book as well as his music. Highly recommended. And as I said, I'll put the upcoming show information in April for the shows he's doing in New England, so you can go and see him in person. Thank you so much for your time today, Professor. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast and telling us about your journey in music. I also really appreciate you taking time to educate us about the blues genre, and I wish you the best of luck and the safest of travels while you're in South America, and I can't wait to hear all about it when you get back.
Well, thanks a lot, Gretch. And we'll see you again. All right. So long.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you again to Professor Harp for joining me on the podcast today. I hope you enjoyed this edition of Notable New England, and I want to let you know that I'll be back here on Sunday, March 30th with a brand new episode for your listening pleasure. Until then, be kind to others around you and be kind to yourself. I'll see you next time.